Welcome back. In the last video, we covered how to define what goes into your API using Pydantic request models. Now we flip to the other side. What comes out? In this video, you will learn how to control the shape of your API responses, filter out data you don't want to expose, and communicate the right status codes to your callers. Let's get into it. Look at the two responses on the screen. On the left, an uncontrolled response. Your function returned a full database object and everything went straight to the caller. A password hash, an authorization token, a database ID, and even debug information with an internal file path. That's a serious security problem. On the right, a control response. Only the field you define comes through. ID, name, content, created at, and the score. Clean, safe, and predictable. A response model is what gives you the right side every time. So, defining a response model works exactly the same way as request model. You create a Pydantic class with fields you want to expose. Then you pass it to the response model parameter in your route decorator. Look at the example. Document response defines 4 fields: ID, title, summary, and created at. When this endpoints return data, FastAPI checks it against document response. When this endpoints returns data, FastAPI checks it against document response before sending it to the caller. Only those 4 fields go out. Anything else your function returns gets stripped automatically. Here's where response models becomes really powerful. Your internal database object might have many fields: relevant scores, owner tokens, internal flags. You don't want any of that going to the caller. Look at the two models on the screen. DocumentDB has 6 fields, including internal score and owner token. Document response only declares 4. When FastAPI serializes the response, it uses document response as the filter. Internal score and owner token never reaches the caller even if they exist in the object your function returns. You get automatic data protection without writing any filtering logic yourself. Now, status codes are how your API communicates what happened beyond just returning data. Every HTTP response has one. The 200 range means success. 200 is the standard success code. 201 means a new resource was created. The 400 range means problem is on the caller side. 400 is a general bad request. 401 means authentication is missing or wrong. 404 means the resource doesn't exist. 422 is what FastAPI returns automatically when validation fails. The 500 range means something went wrong on your server. In FastAPI, the default status code for any endpoint is 200. You can change it by passing status code to the route decorator. Now let's put it all together. This endpoint creates a document. It uses response model equals to document response to control exactly what field the caller receives. It uses status code equals to 201. Tell the caller that a new resource was successfully created. Both are set in the decorator. Nothing extra needed. The function itself just returns a dictionary. FastAPI handles validation, filtering, and status code automatically. This is what a clean, complete endpoint looks like: controlled input, controlled output, and correct status code. To wrap up, response model gives you a guaranteed output contract. FastAPI validates and filters your response automatically. Only the fields you declare go out. Status code tells the caller what happened, so use them correctly. 201 for created, 404 for not found, 422 for our validation errors. In the next video, we cover error handling. You will learn how to raise right errors, return useful messages, and handle failure cases cleanly. See you there.